Hello and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. So to start off this festival makeup look, I'm going to be taking my MAC Pro Longwear concealer and I'm going to be using this to carve out my eyebrows, which I've already filled in off camera, and I'm also going to be using this to prime my eyelids for the eyeshadow. And to do this, I'm using a flat synthetic brush and just packing that all over the lid, making sure I've got a nice even layer of coverage. I don't always go in this heavy when priming my eyelids, but when I know I'm going to be using a lot of black or bold bright colours, I like to lay it on quite thick so that when I do place those colours down, they're going to be as pigmented and as bright as they possibly can be. And I'm just making sure to run it underneath my lower lash line because I'm going to be using some dark colours under there too. And then taking Peach Smoothie from Makeup Geek, I'm going to be using this as my transition shade on a Sigma E40 blending brush, and I'm just placing that back and forth in the crease and all the way up to the brow. And then taking my Morphe 350 palette, I'm going to be taking that medium brown shade and I'm going to be placing that in the crease with the same brush that I was using with the Peach Smoothie. And same as the Peach Smoothie, I'm just placing that in the crease and blending it all the way up to the brow. Going back into my Morphe palette, I'm going to be taking this colour here, which is disgusting, but on the eyelids it looks great. It's very dirty, greeny, yellowy brown. It kind of looks like like sewer water, but I wanted this look to be really grungy and kind of a bit messy, and this colour was perfect for that. So I'm just keeping this colour in the crease and blending it slightly up towards the brow, but not all the way, and I'm using my Zoeva 228 brush to do this. So I'm just placing that back and forth in the crease, making sure I build up a really deep colour. And if you are looking for a really good blending brush, this brush is amazing. The bristles are so thin and soft, but there's a lot of them, so it really packs on the colour and kind of blends it out as you're packing the colour on. Then taking my Tarte palette, I'm going to be taking this cool brown shade and I'm going to be packing that onto the outer corners of my eye and the inner corner of my eye. And then once I've got that intensity down on the outer and inner, I'm going to start blending it through the crease. So I'm just making sure to keep the centre of my lid as clear as possible. I don't want any eyeshadow on there yet. And then of course I'm taking my fluffy blending brush to blend everything out. Then I'm going in with a black eyeliner pencil and I'm going to be placing that over the top of that dark brown on the outer and inner corner. The reason I'm doing this is because I am going to be placing black eyeshadow on those areas, and when I place the black eyeshadow down, I want it to be as dark as possible. So if you've already got a black cream or gel base, it's going to cling to the base when you put the shadow on top, and it's also going to make it as dark as it possibly can be. And before I put the eyeshadow down, I'm just going to soften the edges of that eyeliner pencil with a pencil brush, but I'm keeping it below the crease. I don't want to go too high up with it. And then going back into my Tarte palette with a MAC 217, I'm going to be taking the black shade and I'm going to be using this to pack initially over the top of that eyeliner. And then I'm going to slowly, gradually blend it into the crease. With this brush, I'm using small circular motions as I get to the edge of the shadow. I don't want it to be too harsh. I definitely don't want any harsh lines. So if you use circular motions, you're guaranteed to get a softer, smoother blend. And then, as I said, I'm just blending that through the crease. Slowly but surely does the trick with black. You want to make sure you're just applying a small amount at a time, blending it out, and then keep adding until you get that darkness. And you know what? Sometimes, for whatever reason, no matter how much time you spend or how much your arm aches, the black just doesn't want to blend as much as you like. So you can always take another colour to help the process. So I'm going to take Saddle, and I'm going to place that on top of the black, just right on the edge of where the blend finishes. I chose saddle because I felt like this look needed a little bit more warmth. I'm more of a warm tone kind of gal. So yeah, saddle is my go-to for the crease. And it's really important that you use one brush for your black and a different brush for the saddle colour, because if you mix the colours on one brush, it's all going to end up looking the same and it's just going to be muddy and messy and just not well put together. And then on a MAC 217, I'm just running that underneath my eye, but I'm keeping it on the outer and inner corners, trying to keep the middle centre part of my lower lash line completely clear of any shadow. And then I messed up and went a little bit too low with that shadow, so I just took a cotton bud and just cleaned it up. And then with my concealer and a flat synthetic brush, I'm just going to brighten up that inner corner a bit more, because you kind of lose it with the shadow. I want that to be nice and bright, so when I put the shimmer colour on the lid, you'll see the difference between the sort of black inner corner, black outer corner, and then the pop of colour right in the centre. And obviously popping it on the lower lash line for the same reason. And for the centre of the lid, I sprayed my brush with some MAC Fix Plus just to get it nice and damp, and then I took this pigment from Makeup Geek and it's called Utopia. It's the perfect colour for this look. It's kind of like an old, rusty, antique, grungy gold, which just goes so well, and it was what I had in mind before I kind of knew I was going to use this. So yeah, I'm glad I found this in my drawer, and I'm just packing that all over the lid and on the lower lash line right in the centre. I love the colour of it, but it didn't give me the shine that I wanted. So I went on top with a bit of gold glitter from Technic. And I just placed that right on top in the centre. Just a little bit, not too much. I didn't want it to be too overpowering. I just wanted a little bit of sparkle. And then I felt like something was missing. And I found this in the drawer next to that glitter, which is the same brand, but just a different colour. It's black glitter. So I popped that on top of the black. And initially it just looks like a dark mess, but once it dries, it left a little bit of a sheen and just added to that sort of messy, grungy vibe. And then I took that same eyeliner pencil that I used before, and I'm just lining the waterline, but just on the inner and outer corner, and again leaving the middle blank. And then I went in with my Benefit They're Real mascara, and I paid close attention to my lower lashes. I wanted them to be almost clumpy, just to add to that sort of messy, grungy, slept-in vibe. And then for me, this next step is what completes the look. So I found an old pair of lashes in my drawer. It doesn't matter what lashes you use, because you're going to chop them up anyway. So I think these were Iconics. I'm not too sure. So I chopped them into 4 pieces, and I only used 3 of the pieces. So I placed one on the inner corner, one in the centre of my lid, and one on the outer corner. And I left a nice gap in between each piece of lash. And obviously you don't have to do this step if you find it a little bit weird. You can just go in with a normal strip lash or no lashes, whatever works for you. But for me personally, I didn't love this look until I put on the lashes. And they kind of remind me of Angelica from the Rugrats. She had a doll called Cynthia. Does anyone remember her hair? That's just what they remind me of every time I look at them. Foundation I would wear to a festival would be the Makeup Forever HD Stick Foundation, because it's super light, full coverage, but it's not too heavy on the skin, and it lasts all day. So if you're going to be dancing and drinking and having a good time, this would be the foundation to wear. And I'm just placing that in the areas of my face that I need it most, and then I'm going to use a little bit of my MAC Studio Fix in NC30 to place down in the contoured areas. And then to blend that all in, I'm going to use my Tarte brush. I'm not sure what this brush is called. It hasn't got a name on it, but it was a present and it came in a set, so I'm not too sure what it's called, but you can use any foundation brush, obviously. And I'm using this to first blend out that Makeup Forever foundation first. I don't want to mix the 2 shades of foundation on my brush, because it will just kind of all blend into one and you won't see the difference between the shades. So I'm blending that in first, and then I'll go in and blend in the MAC foundation. Like I said, I'm going to blend out the darker foundation last, so it gives me a slight contoured look. I forgot to clean out any fallout underneath my eye before I went in with the foundation, so I'm just going to do it now and then brush over it with the foundation brush with any product that's left on it. And then I'm going to take a smaller brush with that foundation and just go around the smaller areas of my face, like my brows, the corners of my nose, and in between my eyes on sort of the bridge of my nose, because that concealer's peeking through that we use to prime the eyelids. We don't want that there. And then to brighten up and to conceal my under eye area, I'm going to be using my LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Pure Beige, and I'm using the same small brush just to place that underneath my eye and blend it out. And then once I've got the shape down that I like sort of the area I want it to be placed in, I'll soften the edges with this brush and then go in with my foundation brush to make sure it's all blended nicely. And I'm also going to place that on the areas that I want to highlight, so down the centre of my nose, on the top of my lip, my forehead and my chin. And again, just blending that all out with my foundation brush to make sure it's all nice and seamless. And then I'm going to set that all in place with my Nye Banana powder on a Real Technique contour brush. I love this brush for setting my highlight. So yeah, I'm just packing that over the top to brighten it up and to make sure it stays there all day and doesn't crease or budge. And then to contour, I'm going to be taking my Bonjour Soleil palette from Too Faced, and I'm taking the matte shade in my palette, which, oh, it got completely smashed and broken in my suitcase on the way home from Rome. I'm so sad, but oh well, it still does the job. So taking that bronzer, contouring my face in the hollows of my cheekbones and around my forehead. To highlight my face, I'm going to use my Solstice palette by Sleek, and I'm taking the champagne colour in the palette and I'm placing that on the top of my cheekbones, down the centre of my nose and on my upper lip. And then for blush, I'm going to use my Zoeva Nude Spectrum palette, and I'm taking the two shades there and I'm mixing them together and just placing them on the apples of my cheeks with a Real Techniques blush brush. And I wasn't prepared for how pigmented these blushes are, so I had to tone it down a bit with a big fluffy powder brush. And then I'm just cleaning off any excess foundation on my lips before I go in with my NYX Liquid Suede Liquid Lipstick in the shade Sandstorm. And then I just felt like my lower lash line needed a little bit more of that gold glitter, so I went in and placed that in the centre and dragged it down a bit further so it sparkles. And then off camera, because my battery died, I did go in and place some tribal dots around the outside of my eye and a straight stripe underneath my lip and onto my chin. Pretty straightforward, but yeah, sorry about that. And that's the finished look. I hope you guys like it. If you did, please let me know down below. And if you do recreate this look, I would love to see it. So do tag me in them on social media. I will link everything down below. And if you are going to any festivals this year, I hope you have a great time. Stay safe and enjoy. I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.